A man once said, "He is no fool who gives what he cannot keep to gain what he cannot lose." A man by the name of Jim Elliot said that. He was a missionary in the jungles of Ecuador, and he would later give his life for the sake of the gospel. I'll never forget that quote because, it used to be my mom's favorite quote, and I always saw it on the wall of her office. And every time I would see it, I would look at it, and it would make me think about my life. And sometimes we think things are really important, but we lose our perspective on life, and we forget that sometimes what we think is important isn't necessarily as important as what God sees. And I think sometimes God's calling us to get a new shift of the way we see things, and get a shift of what He really values in this life and what really matters. I was sitting in my office one day, and I was scrolling through my computer on Google, and I came across this sermon by a pastor by the name of Matthew Barnett. And I started to watch it, and as I was watching it, I started to see a little about what he does, and different things he's been doing with his life. And something began to hit me as I began to watch this man. He was a 20-year-old pastor who moved to LA to pastor this small church, and God just began to lay on his heart one day that, his job wasn't to begin to make this big mega church, but his goal that God had in mind for him to do was to be a 24/7 church for the down and out, for the hurting, for the people who needed Jesus the most. And I'll never forget that moment when I began to see that, and God began to pierce my heart with this message that, Jared, I'm calling my church, because it's not our church. Sometimes we think it's our church, but it's God's church. I'm calling my church to be a 24/7 church where, you're always there for the people who need me. And so from that moment on, God really began to lay a foundation in my heart for something that Matthew Barnett started called the Dream Center. And I really started praying about, God, it would be awesome to bring a Dream Center right here to Baltimore. And as I began to pray, and this was several years ago, I began to pray about it and seek God, and I'm like, God, this would be a great thing. And in the moment, I feel like God began to plant a seed, but it wasn't the right timing. And so now let's fast forward. A couple weeks ago, we had a meeting with our church leaders and our deacon board and Pastor Ed. We started to talk about, some different visions and different things we'd love to see in our community. And one thing we've been praying about for the past couple months is, God has given us this property 2 doors down we call it the White House. And it's been a blessing and so cool. And a lot of you guys have been seeing a lot of work done in the house. And we had a couple different ideas and a couple different things we thought we could do with the house. But one thing we decided after a while of praying and seeking God that, maybe we could use that White House as a foundation for the Dream Center to launch something right here in Baltimore. And as we began to pray and seek God, we felt like that was the right move. So I'm currently sitting right here at the White House, and it's my honor to begin to shoot this vision of this Dream Center that we are going to begin to launch right here in Baltimore, Maryland. We are so excited. We are going to use this property God's given us as our office space. All this property that God's given us with this White House and all the things, we're going to use it for our kind of headquarters of launching spots. Our goal isn't just to keep it as an Eastern Assembly of God Dream Center, but we want to reach out to other churches, other organizations. We want to partner with our community to see our community changed. And I'm looking forward to what God's going to do. And this is kind of the starting moment. Can you envision with me for a second that where God's going to take us is so much bigger than even where we're at right now? And I'm looking forward to the great stories we're going to have in this Dream Center. This is kind of the launching point at this White House, and I can just imagine, as people walk through these doors and as we begin to see different things happen through this Dream Center, and I'm looking forward to it. So come with me. I'm going to take you to some different spots where we're looking at God doing some great works in our community. Come with me. Jesus said in the Bible, "I've come for the poor and the needy. For it's not the healthy that need a doctor, it's the sick." I'm standing outside of St. Rita's buildings. This used to be an old Catholic school, once used many years ago for people to come and do school here. And these are two awesome buildings, and we actually just did a walkthrough of these buildings. And when God put the Dream Center on my heart, He also put a big heart of faith, just saying, where the Dream Center is going to cause you to step out in faith, not always knowing where the next step is, but just take that step. And I felt like in my heart God saying, I'll always be there with you, providing the resources and the funds you'll need. And so we're standing outside of these buildings right here, and And as we've been praying about, God, where's the step? Our heart is not just to start all these ministries, but to partner with Christian organizations that are already doing effectively great jobs at what they do. So we're going to begin to partner with different organizations, but we also need, and we're going to supply some ministries ourselves. And the first step we want to do as a Dream Center is we want to open up an after-school program for kids. And where we're looking at right now, we're looking at these buildings to start that. And obviously you can see behind me that they're a little in rough shape and they're going to need a little bit of work, but we're excited about this next step of moving in faith, and what we need from you now is just praying that this is the right move, and we believe in our heart we're going to step out in faith, and if this is the door God wants us to do, we're going to walk through it. And could you just be praying with us that, as we begin to pursue this after school program for this Dream Center, that God would just open that door. If this is his will, it's his bill, and we're excited about what God's going to do. And this is just the first step, church. Our vision is not to end and stop here, but we are going to start eventually, a homeless thing for homeless people. We're going to start a sex trafficking thing for women, and we're going to begin to open up so many doors that God is going to open through this Dream Center. We're excited to be a part, and we're excited that you're a part with us. And, each of you are going to play different parts. Some of you, you're going to just give financially, and that's going to be your part. Others of you, you're going to volunteer time. Whatever your part is and whatever you feel like God is placing on your heart to do it. And God will do his part. We're excited to do this and partner together with Eastern Assembly of God. And I'm excited to reach outside of our walls to partner with other churches, other organizations to start this Dream Center. God is doing great things, and let's be a part of it together, because only together can we move and step into, by faith, what God is going to do. It's a blessing and an honor, church, to do this, and be ready for this Dream Center coming and what God's going to do. It's a pleasure joining with you.